हाय गाइस, आज के वीडियो में हम इंग्लिश लिटरेचर का एक सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट टेक्स्ट डिस्कस करेंगे, जॉफरी चौसर का द कैंटरबरी टेल्स। मैं ऑलरेडी चौसर पे 2 वीडियोस बना चुकी हूँ, एज ऑफ चौसर जिसमें मैंने चौसर के सारे कंटेम्प्रेरीज डिटेल में डिस्कस किए थे, एंड दूसरी वीडियो में मैंने चौसर के सारे इंपॉर्टेंट वर्क्स डिटेल में डिस्कस किए हैं। उन दोनों वीडियोस के लिंक्स आपको नीचे डिस्क्रिप्शन में मिल जाएंगे। आज के वीडियो में हम द कैंटरबरी टेल्स का द जनरल प्रोलॉग डिस्कस करेंगे, जिसमें चौसर ने सारे कैरेक्टर्स का एक ब्रीफ स्केच प्रेजेंट किया है। गाइज, ये वर्क बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है बिकॉज ये मिडिल एजेस में लिखा गया था, जब इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज अपने आप में डेवलप हो रही थी। सो लेट्स बिगिन, बट उससे पहले आप मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना मत भूलें एंड डोंट फॉरगेट टू प्रेस द बेल आइकन, ताकि आपको नेट इंग्लिश से रिलेटेड सारे इंपॉर्टेंट अपडेट्स मिलते रहें।
The Canterbury Tales is Chaucer's most popular work because of various reasons. It is written in Middle English, a language that developed after the Norman invasion. It represents people in 14th century England from all sections of society, of different backgrounds, classes, and sexes. Chaucer delves into each character deeply and presents an intricate picture of their personal peculiarities and their social position. The work is as realistic and a nuanced picture of the time and society as a literary work could be. Lastly, the writing style and language of Canterbury Tales was a huge literary achievement of the Middle English period. The tales were written between 1388 to 1400, in the last stage of Chaucer's literary career, the English period. The 24 tales in the text explores a wide range of literary genres such as romance, comedy, tragedy, satire, and themes such as love, marriage, patriarchy, family, life, death, etc. There are 29 pilgrims who gather at the Tabard Inn at Southwark. Chaucer joined the group, and the host of the inn, Harry Bailey, also joins them. They are all going on a pilgrimage to shrine of Thomas Becket in Canterbury. Harry Bailey proposes that each pilgrim tells 2 tales on the way to the shrine and 2 on the way back. The initial plan of Chaucer was to thus complete 120 tales, but the work was not finished and we have only 24 tales. The poem begins with a detailed description of spring season, revival of life after the winter. The pleasant weather encourages the pilgrims to travel and to visit the shrine of Thomas Becket in Canterbury. The group of pilgrims enter the Tabard Inn and our narrator, Chaucer, joins them there. They all spend one night at the inn and plan to leave for Canterbury in the morning. The General Prologue presents the framing narrative of the poem, whose context is a group of pilgrims on a pilgrimage connected together through the storytelling contest. So in the text, we have stories within the story, an interesting framing device used by Chaucer. Chaucer finds the group representing diverse sections of English society, and he attempts to describe them one by one. He first presents the knight, who is fond of chivalry, fidelity, courtesy, generosity, and has a good reputation. He has been to places such as Alexandria, Lithuania, Russia, Morocco, and many more places. And he has fought many wars. Chaucer describes him as a truly perfect, noble knight. Then he describes the squire, who is son of the knight. Chaucer guesses his age to be 20. He has curls, has moderate height. He is also described as a strong persona who has been on cavalry expeditions like his father. He is a jolly fellow who knows merrymaking, singing, dancing, composing, drawing, and writing. Overall, he is a fine gentleman. Then comes the yeoman of the night. He is also described as a perfectionist at his job who knows everything about his profession and knows well to carry himself. Then comes the nun, a prioress, who is described as a simple and modest human being. She is called as Madame Eglantine. She speaks French very well and has great manners. She is modest, charitable, and compassionate. She has a brooch on which love conquers all is written. Monk is the next character, who is described as a fine monk qualified to become an abbot. An abbot is a head of monks. He is a horseman, He willingly adapts to time and modern ways. He is fond of hunting, which is unusual for monks of the Middle English period. Next is Friar, who loves pleasure and is always merry. He married many times. He has a great reputation with landowners and is a licensed friar. Overall, he is presented as someone who is well connected with all sorts of people in the society, sometimes even to those such as barmaids and innkeepers with whom a friar is not supposed to have any links. He has strong and confident personality, and he would not leave any opportunity to earn profit. Next is merchant, who is always concerned about his profits. The next character is a clerk, who is a scholar of Oxford. He is only interested in studying Aristotle and philosophy particularly, and does not have any material desires. He only speaks when it is required to speak. Then comes the sergeant of the law, who is described as a prudent, wise, judicious, dignified person. He has extensive knowledge and a great reputation. Then we have a Franklin, who is a way too fond of worldly pleasures and delights. He is compared to Saint Julian, who is a patron of hospitality. He enjoys his ale, wine, and bread, fish, and pies that are endless in his house and are of good quality. Next comes a haberdasher, carpenter, a weaver, a dyer, and a tapestry maker, who are all described as good in their own respective professions. A haberdasher is a dealer of small items. Then Chaucer talks about the cook, who is good at his profession, but Chaucer says that he had an open sore on his shin, which can be harmful in a cook. Next is a shipman, who is from Dartmouth. He is very skillful, bold, and prudent in his profession. The name of his ship is Maudlin. Next, we have a doctor of medicine. Again, someone who is very good at his job, who takes great care of his patient, and he also takes care of his own diet and health. He is thrifty in expenditure and saves money for plague. Overall, a kind, gentle, caring, and giving human being. Then Chaucer describes one of the most famous characters of the Canterbury Tales, the wife of Bath, who is somdal deaf, meaning partly deaf. She has the skill of stitching clothes. She wears fine attires and has a taste for luxurious belongings. She married 5 times and has been to Jerusalem 3 times. The wife of Bath's tale is very interesting in the Canterbury Tales. Next, we have a parson who is represented as a learned man who knew gospel by heart. He is a gentle and graceful person who is always willing to help his poor colleagues or anyone else in need. He is thrifty and is content with few belongings. That if gold rust, what shall iron do? This is an important line from his description. He religiously follows and teaches Christ's teachings. Then we have a plowman, brother of parson, who is also a kind and helping person. Next we have a miller, a well-built man who never lost in wrestling. But he has some bad habits. He speaks a lot and is loudly and is described as a fool. He would also steal corn and charge 3 times more than its real price. Next character is a Manciple of a Law School, who is a wise and witty fellow and knows his ways around. He had 10 master experts in law, but he was able to fool them all. The next character is Reeve from Norfolk, who is described as thin and slender. He has knowledge of seasons and farming and takes care of all his master's sheep, cattle, and horses. He himself had good wealth. The next is Summoner, who has a disagreeable appearance that children would be scared of looking at him. He has extravagant tastes. Then there is a partner who was with the Reeve, who was coming from the court of Rome. He has yellow hair and glaring eyes. He is carrying parcels from Rome in his bag. Chaucer points that he might be a homosexual or a eunuch. He uses flattery and tricks to fool other parsons and people, but he is a well-read and knows his readings in the church. So guys, after such a nuanced descriptive sketches of all the pilgrims, Chaucer finally moves towards concluding the prologue. He talks about the Tabard Inn as a fine hostelry in Southwark. The host Harry Belly is very hospitable, wise and well-taught and provides the pilgrims with good food and wine. He knows how to host perfectly and create an atmosphere of merrymaking. Then the host proposes to conduct the story contest that each pilgrim in this group will tell 2 tales on the way to Canterbury and 2 on the way back. And whoever tells the best tale will have a free supper on others' coast. Everyone agrees to him and accepts him as the judge of the contest. Everyone goes to sleep after that. Next morning, the host arose everyone and they all begin their journey. He chooses the method of drawing straws to select who will tell the first tale, and it comes to the knight to tell the first one. And the prologue concludes here. If you find this video useful, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any important updates on the upcoming UGC NET English exam.